Hello and welcome to your weather forecast for March 2nd, 2025. Doesn't that feel different than February? Oh my goodness. And we got a lot to talk about today. So, first of all, we're going to look at our satellite imagery, and we have a small storm that is moving across the United States right now. It's going to just has just been producing some wind, some hail, and maybe a tornado or two. I have not been keeping track of that. But we also are getting some snow and rain over here, and this is going to cause our really big system that we're going to talk about today. So let's get right into it because I am excited for spring, meteorologically speaking, at least. All right, so this is going to be our jet stream over the next little bit and how this is going to cause our next storm. So, first of all, here we have our dip right here. This is going to move right across, and this is going to produce some significant heat to everyone. This is going to be like a relief for a lot of people. It's going to be like last week where we had a lot of heat over here in the plains in the east. And that is going to collide perfectly with a bunch of cold air that is going to come right down behind it and plunge into the southeast area. And here's what our radar is going to look like over the next couple of days. So, first of all, we do have the storms that are bursting in Oklahoma and Texas today. This is going to continue until probably midnight. And then this is going to not be a problem anymore, really. We do have a slight risk in this region for today. But that's all. And then as you can see, we are going to produce some more snow over here in the Rockies. Just some light to moderate snow. It's not like super heavy. But here's where it really gets interesting because we have a line of storms that are going to burst out right in front of this system. But that's not the main part because as we head into the evening on Tuesday, it is going to get crazy. First of all, we have a lot of stuff right here in the northern plains stretching from Colorado into South Dakota. That is going to be a snowstorm, which is going to produce some heavy snow, some local regions, but some moderate snow in a lot of regions. And that is going to continue across the central and northern plains. And then we're going to have an enhancement as the snow kind of collides with the moisture, and we're not exactly sure where that's going to happen. The specific model shows it happening like right in time for the Mississippi-Kansas border, which I think is probably a good estimate for this, being as it's kind of the center of the models. But at this period, it is going to be quite a storm. It is going to have a large swath of snow happening and severe weather happening in the south. And there's that. Here's our closer look at our severe weather over the south central U.S. There's our first line of storms going through central Oklahoma and southern Kansas. And then here's where that stuff really gets going. These are going to have some prefrontal cells, and then we're going to have a line of storms, which is going to bring some heavy, heavy rain and some damaging winds. And I think that is going to be one of the big pushers of our risk. And it continues to the east. I think our biggest period is probably right here in eastern Texas and western Louisiana up into here. Think this 11 a.m. March 4th. That is going to be 11 a.m. on Tuesday. It is going to look quite a storm. And this is lining up kind of weird because this is 11 a.m. This is the morning for a lot of you folks. So you're going to have some weird timed storms. And again, that moves off to the east. And what this storm is going to do is it's going to just continue to race off to the east. And it's going to become more of a Canada problem and less of a U.S. problem. But some of you in the Great Lakes and then maybe a little bit in the Northeast, I think you guys are just going to get scattered in the Northeast. It'll most likely miss you guys unless you're like super far north. And then after that, we're going to see a small cold plunge before it quickly warms up, and we're going to see a small kind of a clipper storm, but it doesn't originate as a clipper storm. it moves like right through. It's actually uptrended since the last time. If you look at our last run, this is what our last run looked like. We have a little bit more precipitation with this. Yeah, there's a lot more moisture with this on this run. So definitely, I think maybe a little bit more significant on the rainy side on that one. And then this specific model run does show some snow. And both the Euro and the GFS do show this. But the GFS is the only one that shows snow. And this is trended further south, which is very interesting. If it stays further south than this, it won't snow. But there is a chance that it could snow there. And that is like Sunday. So that is 7 days out from now. And then we're going to get a big heat. And here's where it gets like super active. We have a big system here. And then another big system there. And a big system there. Yeah, it's going to get very active as we head right into mid-month with multiple storms. So I am here to cover all of it for you. So actually, one more model run really quick. We do have this. It does not look like is going to actually kind of lines up with the NAM. So I kind of trust the Euro a little bit more with this, with the snow at least. And then again, like no snow up there. And then actually there's like nothing with this Clipper system, which is very interesting because the GFS shows a significant system, which I think it will be. And this doesn't show much else. And here's our heat and a system. And this one is interesting because as you can see, there's not a lot of snow. But as you continue here and fuel from the northeast and get all this cold diving down with it, this is not necessarily going to happen, but it is a scenario. We have a lot of snow with all that moisture from the Atlantic being pushed right ashore. And then that's going to move out of the hair there. And again, another big system. I think this will change. And that's all for that run. For our temperature anomalies, we do have some very, very interesting temperatures compared to the previous 2 months. So this is what it looks like right now. We are cool in the east and warm in the west, at least considerably compared to average. This cooler air is going to get kicked out by the warmer air. And then we're going to get another little cold dip right here. It does not look very significant. Maybe like 4 or 5 degrees below average, maybe up to 10 in some areas. But that is going to move out pretty quickly. And we stay in mostly a warm pattern with maybe a couple cold blasts. So here's one other thing I wanted to show you guys today. It's called CAPE. It is like a severe weather potential, and the darker or more intense, you can kind of look at it down here, but it's pretty evident. Like the more intense it looks, the more intense the severe weather potential, and it looks quite widespread. So yeah, that is something to definitely look at as we head in. I do think this is kind of misleading as it continues to the east, though, because this is when our storms are going to be the most significant. All right, anyway, the Storm Prediction Center is predicting a enhanced risk for Tuesday, and that is going to be quite widespread too, because our slight risk is all the way up to Missouri, and we have a marginal risk all the way up into Nebraska. And Nebraska is also a spot. This area right here is also a spot that could get a lot of snow. So, yeah, you see where this is going? This is going to be an insane storm. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow because we're going to break down even more.